What's good, YouTube? It's your boy, just another PokeTuber, coach of your Piedmont Tri-Kickers, coming at you today with our draft analysis for Season 7 of the NBBL. This will be our first time participating in the NBBL. However, it's been around for 7 seasons. It is hosted by Nova Blader. Pretty sure you guys know who he is. Pretty cool guy. Someone I've become real acquainted with, and, he's a pretty fun guy to play against as well. His draft league, is named Nova's Bacon Battalion League. Pretty cool name in my opinion. I also like the logo with the 3 starters because Meowscarada, Crocalor, Samurott, they're all goated. So this league is slightly different than most of the other leagues I've been in the sense that Pokemon are not like... So first of all, Pokemon are not like divided by points, they're divided by tiers, right? So we're allowed one tier 1. So the tiers are from 1 to 5. And as you go down, as you move your way on up the tiers, you progressively get have less access. So, for example, you get 1 tier 1, 2 tier 2s, 2 tier 3s, 2 tier 4s, not 2 tier 4s, 3 tier 4s, and 3 tier 5s. So we're allowed 1 Terra Captain. So out of our tier 3s, our tier 4s, and our tier 5s, we're allowed 1 Terra Captain from each. This draft league has 3 Terra crystals, and one of the crystals has to be stab. But nothing wrong with that. There are 2 divisions. However, all the coaches are drafting together, so it's not going to be like in other leagues where I might play somebody and hey, we both have Cinderace on our team because we both were in different divisions and picked up Cinderace, right? So yeah, once a mon is picked up, it's completely gone. You're the only person that can have it between both divisions. This league is 9 weeks and then playoffs, but the upload is not required. But obviously, since we're doing this draft analysis and we're going to be doing uploads, so your boy ended up in a pretty questionable spot. We were 9 out of 28 coaches, so we're not in the middle. So typically 9th spot would be kind of bad, but I guess in this league, all things considered, it's not the worst. But a lot of Pokemon did get taken, coming back to me from both directions. However, we managed to only get sniped 3 times, which I feel like is a pretty good accomplishment for us, considering in like BHDL we typically get sniped like, almost 20 times every freaking league. So without further ado, let's get into the team. And if you guys want to take a pause the video to see like some of the coaches, that's also pretty, it's cool. There's a lot of cool coaches in this league. This pace bin is going to be crazy, but a lot of fun dudes to play against. So first and foremost, to start off our draft, we decided to pick up, so our first tier 1, it shouldn't be a surprise, well, it's the only tier 1, shouldn't be a surprise, it's none other than our mascot, Cinderace. So, Cinderace is a physical wall breaker who can also function as like, for utility purposes with like Will-O-Wisp, Taunt, Core Change, but because of his Libero ability, he can really function as a physical wall, has a pretty colorful move pool. Not much more to be said. I'm always talking about my guy. Me and my guy, Big Ace, we're going to cook. He's the Cinderace that I caught. Well, not caught. It was given to me by Leon. So this is the guy I used in my sword playthrough. So yeah, hope to have fun with him this time around. As you guys know, I'm a man of many Cinderaces. So next on the team roster. So we don't have to draft them in order in the sense that we have to go like tier 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We don't have to draft them in order. We can pick the mons up in any order we want. However, we have to just be mindful of, okay, we're allowed so many of each, right? So for my next pick, I decided just to go ahead. So for the next 2 picks, right, I decided to go ahead and fill out my Fire, Water, Grass core. The next mon I picked up, I decided it was going to be like my Terra Captain. So as you guys probably know from watching my videos, I like having at least 1 physical and 1 special Terra Captain. So the next mon we pick up is our physical Terra Captain. It's the one, the only Ogerpon Cornerstone. So obviously, since we can only be a rock like Terra Rock, we're locked into rock for all 3 of the Terra types. I don't think that's a big deal though, considering she gets Pebbles. So I named my Ogerpon Pebbles, as you guys are probably familiar with. She gets coverage to hit everything you can't hit with rock anyway, so it's not really a big deal that we can only use rock as our Terra type. Not to mention she gets setup moves with like Trailblaze, Sword Stance, so late game Ogerpon can really go crazy. And then not to mention, like I said, it's our physical wall breaker. Terra Captain, her and Cinderace both function as physical wall breakers. And so as you can imagine, for my water type, I really wanted something that was going to be a special attacker. Not to to mention that since Cinderace is basically my 120 and Pebbles is 110, I decided to also fill up my speed tiers with a base 100 water type who could, function as a special wall breaker. So as you guys probably can tell by now, our next mon that we picked up was none other than Manaphy. We picked up Manaphy in SPDA, but we didn't get to use her a lot. So this time around, I want to be able to use her more. Mainly here to be a special wall breaker. She gets set up with like Tail Glow and Take Heart, so you can't even status this thing. So it's a pretty, it can function pretty well as a special wall breaker. Hydration for the ability, not like we're going to get to use it a lot. If I didn't mention this before, Ogerpon gets sturdy, so we're basically always guaranteed to set something up. But yeah, Manaphy is mainly here to be a special wall breaker, and because of its bulk, it can also be like a tanky thing, and she's respectively fast too with 100 speed. So yeah, that's Manaphy. Next on the team roster is a mon that I've seen my friend Pokemaster use, I've seen my friend Scorpion use, I've seen my friend Destroyer use. Matter of fact, it's his channel mascot. So I thought maybe it's my turn to use it because they always make it look pretty fun. I'm talking about none other than Dragonite, who I nicknamed Lovebug as a way to pay homage to Ash's Dragonite from the anime, because it's always hugging stuff. Like she's full of so much love. And I remember being a kid, and I also remember being a kid and thinking Dragonite was so cool because I remember when Ash fought Drake's Dragonite, it had like 10 moves, and if you don't know what I'm talking about, you're probably too young to be on my channel, maybe. But I feel like Dragonite's the jack of all trades. Multiscale is an ability that allows her to so basically at full health she always takes half damage from moves, and then because of the stat spread, like I said, jack of all trades, it can be a physical attacker, special attacker, mixed attacker. She also has a lot of a deep enough move pool to be it can be disruptive with like T-Wave, Encore, Roost as well. So Roost lets us get our multi-scale back up. So yeah, Dragonite, pretty cool Pokemon. Hopefully I use it in a way that I'm proud of this season. So, Dragonite, Ogerpon, Manaphy were kind of weak to Freeze Dry, so I decided next round I should probably pick up a Steel type. As things stand, I've already used up all my Tier 1 and Tier 2s, and after I pick up this Pokemon, I'll have no more room to draft other Tier 3s, because the next mon I pick up is none other than Cobalion. So if I'm being honest, this is an excuse for me to use my shiny Cobalion that I caught in Pokemon Home. I haven't nicknamed it yet because I don't know what to nickname a Cobalion. Very respectable bulk with 129 defense, at least on the physical side. 72 speed athletes ought to be desired, but because of how high his HP stat, which is 91, is not terrible. So we can more or less, sometimes we really need to invest into the Spadef because he does get access to Iron Defense, so we don't have to run max defense every week. And also, something you might hear me say a lot, this is nothing a freaking AV can't fix. Cobalion also gets another pivot option besides Cinderace and Ogerpon because it gets Volt Switch for some reason. And then also Cobalion can set rocks, so kind of another jack of all trades, pivoting, setup, rocks, I kind of wish he got bulk up, but he would probably be too broken if he got it, if we're being honest. So, but I saw my friend Beardy use it, and he looked pretty fun when he was using it. So I was like, you know what? Maybe I can get Cobalion a chance. And once again, just an excuse to use my shiny Cobalion and show off a little bit. So, yeah. And he also has 108 speed. So, for the most part, we're going to be attacking first a lot of the times anyway. So, yeah, that's Cobalion. Next on the team roster, okay. I already knew who I wanted for my Terra Captain and my Tier 4s, so I decided, okay, before I even get that Pokemon, let's try to set it up. Let's try to do right by it with the mons we drafted for it. So I'm gonna get into what I mean by that later. But for the next pick, we decided to pick up none other than No Face the Mimikyu. No Face is a mon from not a mon, but a character from the movie Spirited Away, one of my favorite movies of all time. If you haven't seen it, I highly implore you to watch it. Really good movie. But Mimikyu has Disguise, which is kind of similar to Multiscale, but way different at the same time, because basically the first time I get hit, we don't really take any real damage except for like a little bit of chip. So this mon can always more or less do what it wants to do, at least on the first turn it's in. So whether it's Swords Dance, Trick, Will-O-Wisp, T-Wave, get a big hit off, we can always do something with it. But it also gets priority, so, we can set up with it, we can kind of go a little crazy, depending on the circumstances. Like a late game Mimikyu could be very scary, depending on the circumstances. Ghost and Fairy are, like, like pretty much the best offensive typing to have, if I'm being real. But yeah, Mimikyu gets a lot of moves that I didn't know about until watching my friend Scorpion use it. So I was like, oh, and even a little bit of my friend a Praetor. So yeah, let's see what we can do with Mimikyu this time around. So we're allowed 2 more tier 4s. Mimikyu's a tier 4. So the next one we picked up is our Terra Captain from the tier 4 category. It's none other than Meloetta, who we can't nickname like Manaphy. We can't nickname him because we got our shinies from the home event, which won't allow for nicknaming. Kind of sucks. So Meloetta is my special Terra Captain. 128 special attack, 128 SPDF, so it can function as a special attacking wall breaker as well as a SPDF wall. Normal psychic typing, so we're weak to U-turn, but Mimikyu and Cobalion both 4 times resist U-turn, so that really helps. And then Cobalion also has Justified as an ability, so you can't really, you have to really think about whether or not you want to hit me with a like a knockoff or something, because if you do, only thing you're doing is boosting Cobalion, who can at that point be in position to go kind of crazy, if I'm being honest. So for the Terra types, I chose normal because the thing about Meloetta, it also has access to a move called Relic Song, which allows it to transform into its Priorette form. We have Aria Priorette. So this thing is kind of a tricky mon to prep for as well, because if you prep like really hard for the special side, like the special one, then I bring the physical one, okay, things can get real. Especially since, because of Serene Grace, Relic Song, if I'm not mistaken, has like a 40% chance to put things to sleep, and this mon gets access to Swords Dance, so I put something to sleep as I'm transforming and then start Swords Dancing. Well, that can, more times than not, that could be GG's. Especially as Meloetta is 90 speed, so it's tad bit slower than certain things, so sometimes I can get a slow Relic Song in just to get into like a faster form and then just set up. We have Terra Fighting to help with our steel matchups on the special one, but also because this one's already a fighting type, so we can get like really big damage off in those close combats. And then we have Terra Fairy to help with our dragon matchups wherever we're using this one, because the Aria form can just blast through dragons with Hyper Voice. This one we can just go Terra Fairy and blast them with Terra Blast, which would also still be stab when we're a special attacker because it's a normal type move. And then, like I said, we have 128 speed, 128 attack, so the moment we transform, this thing becomes a very threatening physical attacker, especially considering with 128 speed, a lot of mons, even with a Choice Scarf, are not going to outspeed us, which I really like. But yeah, that's Meloetta, motherfucker I'll be able to have fun with, and I like having a versatile Terra Captain like this. So I noticed in this part of the draft, Cinderace is kind of my only hazard remover, which I don't like. And also, if I get hazards up, I would prefer to not defog them away. So I decided, okay, next round, let's get ourselves a rapid spinner. So we decided to pick up none other than Sahara the Sandslash. It reminds me of the desert, and then on top of that, my shiny Sandslash is a girl, so it kind of all fits. So Sandslash is a tier 5. So going forward, I'm allowed 1 more tier 4, 2 more tier 5s. Sandslash is mainly here to be a spinner, but she can also get rocks up because she has access to Stealth Rock and Spikes. Also use it for utility because she has knockoff, and on top of that, because of that 100 attack, we can use her to get decent chunk with like earthquakes and stuff. And then because of that 110 defense, we can also get decent, she can be a pretty viable physical wall as well, all things considered. But yeah, she's mainly here to be our hazard remover, I'm being honest. But yeah, that's Sahara. Next on the team roster, I'm sitting here like, okay, this team is already coming out pretty offensive. So, 1, I needed a dark type. I felt like I don't believe in not having a dark type on your team. 2, I wanted something that could, support the team in a way, right? So I decided for the next round to get none other than Moonlight, the Umbreon, who has 95 HP, 110 defense, 130 SPDF. Shout out to Zach Mander, because I know he was looking at this thing, but he learned that I wanted it, and he decided, like, you know what, let me not snipe Brandon, which I really appreciate, because he could have done it. I wouldn't have complained about it, but I really appreciate him for that. But I really wanted this thing for wish support as well as screens, because 1, my team would probably a lot of mons this team would appreciate the wish support. And then on top of that, because of the setup sweepers that I have, screens could really enable us to, like, you know, set up and just sweep in a lot of situations. And then Umbreon also can pivot with baton pass, and it can also punish physical setup with foul play. I don't really know what she really gets for like special attackers outside of like T-Wave and stuff, but you know, we have T-Wave, Toxic, Screens, Wish. So this thing, she's mainly here to be a support mon, but nothing wrong with that. Next on the team roster, so I really wanted webs. It was kind of hard for me to fit a poison type onto the team as well, because I really wanted an electric type as my final Terra captain. So as much as I didn't want to draft this mon, I kind of had to go with the only thing that really made sense. So for the next round, we decided to pick up Charlotte, the Ariados. If you've seen Charlotte's web, you should know. If I'm being honest, she's just here to set webs. However, some other notable things she can do: she gets priority, and she also can just toxic things, set T-spikes. I originally wanted Spidops originally, but then I was like, okay, well, Cobalion and Sandslash can set rock, so I guess I don't need Spidops for that. So I was like, okay, we can just use Ariados. It does get T-spikes. It can also pivot with baton pass. We can toxic things. We can set webs. So, you know, and if I didn't mention already, we do get priority with like Shadow Sneak and Sucker Punch, I believe. So, you know, she's here to do Ariados things, I guess. It's a learning experience. To round out the team, last but not least, my last mon, who's also my last tier 5. I just, you know, if you haven't noticed, so far 7 out of 10 of these mons I haven't used before. This next mon is a mon that I used because I did get sniped off of Belly Bolt, which is what I wanted. Then I wanted Terra Raichu, got sniped off of that. So I was like, okay, for my dedicated special attacking Terra captain, I decided to pick up a mon that I'm familiar with, which is none other than Ampharos. So, you know, Ogerpon is my physical Terra captain. Meloetta can function as physical or special, and then we have Zatchbell, the Ampharos, who, you know, going to be special. We have Terra Electric, because we're pure electric types, so it's our stab. Terra Flying to help with the grass types as well as our ground type matchups. And then we have Terra Fairy to help out with our dragon matchups, because we do have Dazzling Gleam, so thankfully we don't have to run Terra Blast to get, like, have a fairy move, you know what I'm saying? This mon can also pivot with Volt Switch. It can function as a setup sweeper between Meteor Beam and Agility as well. Static is our ability, and it has respectable enough bulk that, you know, most times it should make someone think twice whether they want to U-turn or not, because if I paralyze something that's trying to U-turn, and you don't want it paralyzed, I'm pretty sure that can suck. But Zatchbell is my last Terra captain, and well, guys, this is the team. Not really much more needs to be said. I want to reveal like all my tricks before the draft starts. Otherwise, this video could be a lot longer. So without further ado, thank you, everybody, for tuning in. I really hope you guys enjoy the ride in NBBL. I'm expecting this to be a really fun time. So if you haven't done so already, please remember to like and subscribe. And until next time, peace out.